People want to reach for excellence. The people you want to reach for excellence. The people you don't want to reach for excellence.
This dude, when it comes, because he started working with Natalie and I, he's been giving us advice on how to scorecard people, how to metrics, all these things that we talk about, but on a smaller level. I mean, you were building those scorecards for 180 countries.
Yep.
Talk about what it's like managing velocity. In the context of process systems and people, talk about how you have to leverage that in order to manage the velocity.
You know, it's really about ownership and buy-in. If you involve people and they feel heard in the process of what your KPIs are, of what you're measuring, then their ownership becomes sort of an inclusive part of doing it. I mean, too many times I think it's easy for us to say, well, I know exactly what KPIs we need to check, drill those, force those down into the organization. They hit, then the bottom of the organization, and it may be 6 or 7 levels in a big company, says, well, that person doesn't really get it. That's a metric that we have very little control of, so therefore we don't pay any attention to it. And so when you really step back and say, hey, yeah, I kind of have a general idea of what I'd like to get us to, but I need to start with more of a grassroots approach. Then you can begin to get the ownership and the buy-in to fold in right behind. And then I think people want to reach for excellence. The people you want to reach for excellence. The people you don't want to reach for excellence. And when you find those people that want to reach for excellence, they enjoy stretch goals. They enjoy the ability to knock a metric out of the park and celebrate that metric in a profound and unique way. And it's easy as a driven person to not celebrate the successes. Take it from me. I'm gonna move on to the next one. Let's go get the next one. Let's get the next one. And I have a hard time sometimes just stop, smell the roses, appreciate, thank, take inventory, then let's go get the next one. And I've had to rewire myself over time to become better at that and to be more self-aware, candidly, of that, I think is really important. But at that grassroots level, building that at the grassroots level, the ownership and buy-in of your KPIs, of your metrics, then get very disciplined about how you perform. Show up with those metrics. Is it weekly? Is it daily? Is it monthly? Is it quarterly? Is it all the above? And one of the key things I think when you do that is make that available to everyone. Show everyone the scorecard. And yeah, Joe or Susie or Johnny or whoever may not like being at the bottom of the list. But if they don't like being at the bottom of the list, they'll move up the list or they're not the right person to be on the team. So I love being transparent with it because they help create them. They help create the KPIs and the metrics, and we've got the buy-in and the ownership. Then being very transparent with being very open with that, and then really driving performance off of peer pressure, off of visibility, celebrate the top winners. I created this event at Microsoft, they still do today, called the Platinum Club for the top 300 sellers in the world. And we would romance them in Monaco or Maui. We'd switch off every other year and go one or the other, and they would have a full 10 days of celebrations. I would bring in big acts for them to perform and bring their spouse or significant other, and we would just have a big celebration. And I made sure we videoed that and showed the entire organization. This is what you should be aspiring to get to go to next year. And we used it as a rallying cry. And then they would go back and tell their subsidiaries or their country, we would require them at the next all hands meeting, well, why don't you got to go to Platinum Club, tell us how that was. And then they would be the best evangelist you'd ever imagine. And they still do it to this day. But that's about the ability to celebrate success. When I got to Microsoft, we had no top sellers club in the company. It was just like, okay, here's the next quota for the next year. Thanks for last year. Let's move on. And so being able to be open to those ideas of how to go celebrate success, I think really reinforces it. And we take it all the way to your evaluations. So your evaluation is based off of a large part of your KPIs and your scorecard. So it's entrenched, you know that up front. And you just ingrain it into the culture. And repetition is the mother of learning, has been said many times. You're just relentless with the follow-up and the execution of it.